Hello everybody, welcome to Snyder's Inc. Today we got a Mr. Ballin video. This one is, this message ruined his life. Comments are turned off for this, so this is very interesting. I'm very curious what's gonna happen here in this story, but I need you all to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, comment what you think down below. And let's get right into this. You guys ready? Of course ready. Let's go.
On a summer night in 2020, a young man received a notification on his cell phone. When he read it, he realized his life was over. But before we get into his story, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you've come to the right place because that's all we do, and we upload 3 or 4 times every week. So if that's of interest to you, please offer to buy the like button and order of their favorite food, fried chicken, but before you give it to them, remove the outer crispy layer from every piece. Also, please subscribe to our channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of our weekly uploads. All right, let's get into today's stories. In the spring of 2020, right when the COVID-19 pandemic was really kicking into high gear, students at the University of Nebraska were told to move out of their dorms and move back home with their families to prevent the spread of the virus. One student, 20-year-old Alex Kearns, who was enrolled at Nebraska on an ROTC scholarship, was just as shocked as everybody else at how quickly this pandemic had turned their life upside down. But in terms of going back home again, he wasn't that upset about it because he was close with his family and he figured some unexpected time with them would be nice. Once he got back to his hometown of Naperville, Illinois, which is an affluent suburb outside of Chicago, he quickly fell into a quarantine routine, which consisted mostly of screen time and lounging around. But in the evenings, he would put his screens away and he would go into the kitchen with his mother, Dorothy, and the two of them would chat for hours about all sorts of things. One night, he told his mom that he was feeling kind of nervous about what he was going to do with his life after college, that even though he was studying business out at the University of Nebraska, he didn't really know what he was going to do with that. All he knew was that he wanted to find a way to help people. And his mother and everybody that knew Alex would say that that's just Alex. He was this really gentle, nice, awesome person that everybody just adored. After being home for a few weeks, Alex was starting to get bored of his quarantine routine, and he began looking for other things to do. He had seen a number of ads for a new brokerage app called Robinhood that was becoming increasingly popular amongst people his age. Unlike other trading platforms, Robinhood was designed for the common person. There was not huge fees that needed to be paid by the investor as soon as they logged on, and the app was very sleek, and it turned trading kind of into a game on the app. Alex
That already seems sus. That seems scamish to me. I'm just saying, that seems scamish whole lot to me.
Had a few $1,000s in his bank account, and so he figured, you know what the heck, I'll download Robinhood and see what I can do. What's the worst that can happen? After trading on Robinhood for a couple of days, Alex was hooked, and he showed his family that he was actually making a little bit of money, and he was learning about the stock market. His parents would later recall when they found out he was using Robinhood, they weren't concerned because Alex had always been incredibly careful with his money, saving most of it and very rarely spending much of it, and so they figured, he might lose his savings, but he's certainly not going to fall into significant debt. That's just...
Well, you underestimate the power of addiction, and I feel like this is the type of thing where once you taste the bit of money, you want to keep going, and you want to keep going, and you want to keep going, and you want to keep going to the point it could cause addiction to take a whole new level. I have a feeling this guy's about addictedness to this app might come back to bite him.
Just not Alex. Also, there was a safety mechanism in basic accounts on Robinhood that protected first-time users from going above $10,000 in debt. So even if Alex tried to lose more than that, the app wouldn't allow him so long as he was using a basic account. As the weeks went on, Alex got more and more confident in his trading ability, and he got really familiar with the Robinhood app. And one day he noticed there was one function he had not tried on the app called options trading. For context, traditional trading goes like this. Somebody identifies a stock that they like, and then they gamble on it. And the way they gamble on it is they buy shares of that stock, and if the stock increases in value, they make more money. If the stock loses value, they lose money. Very simple. But some people either can't afford the shares or don't want to buy the shares, but they still want to get in on the action of the stock market. And for those people, they can use something called options trading. Instead of buying shares, options traders will basically sell an insurance policy to other traders who have already purchased shares. And this insurance policy they're offering is known as an option. These option traders will go up to these shareholders and they'll say, for example, I'll give you $500 in exchange if your stock tanks and you're losing a ton of money. You can exercise your option, i.e. cash in your insurance policy, and I, the option holder, will cover all of your losses. But if your stock stays steady or gains in value, I still get to keep your $500. That's non-refundable. Naturally, these options traders, they need to be savvy about which stocks they're prepared to cover with their option. Because if that stock tanks and the shareholder decides to sell, i.e. exercise their option, then the option holder is obligated to immediately buy all of the shares at a premium. And if that shareholder has, let's say, hundreds of thousands of shares, well, too bad, the option holder is buying all of them. So when Alex clicked on the
Oh, this sounds sketchy. Ooh, that sounds... Oh, I don't like that. I don't like the sound of that. I don't like that at all.
options trading button inside of his Robinhood app, it brought him immediately to an application because Robinhood had to make sure anybody on their app that was going to be buying or selling options, they needed to be an experienced trader and they needed to understand the risks because they were much higher than a basic account. There was no limit to how much debt someone could fall into in trading options. Alex was a smart guy and a motivated trader, but he knew nothing about options trading. And so when he saw this application, I'm sure he thought to himself, yeah, I know nothing about options trading. There's no way I could possibly get into this. But he decided, you know, what the heck? I will apply to go onto their options trading side just to see if they'll accept me. And so he fills out the application and almost immediately he is accepted onto that side of the platform. It would later turn out that application was kind of a sham. It did not really do very much to restrict access to that side. Alex was surprised.
It's the skemishness of this app. This thing is just, it gives everyone could go on this thing then, pretty much.
At his acceptance, but he was also very excited. And right away, he started trading options. And he was pretty good at it. And pretty quickly, he was making a little bit of money. But then on June 11th, he got a notification on his phone from Robinhood. And so he pulled his phone up, he opened the app, and he saw his account was restricted. He couldn't make any new trades and he couldn't make any withdrawals. And so as he looked at it, he scrolled down to the bottom of the page and he saw his current balance. And it read negative $730,000. A trader that Alex had sold an option to was exercising his option because his stock had tanked. And he owned over $700,000 worth of shares that now Alex was obligated to buy. Alex couldn't believe what he was looking at, and he immediately fired off an email to Robinhood customer support saying there had to have been a mistake, that he had done the math before he had sold that option, and he thought at most he was exposed to losing maybe $10,000, certainly not $700,000. And so after he sent this email, a couple of minutes later, he got a message back from Robinhood, but it was just an automated response that just said, hey, you know, we got your email and we're busy and we'll be sure to be in touch with you as soon as we possibly can. And so at this point, Alex is starting to panic a little bit because he's looking at his phone and this looks real. He's trying to go through his phone to find some place that would show him this was a mistake, but there's nothing that indicates this is a mistake. And so after a couple of hours, Alex is just laying in his bed, he can't sleep, and he sends another message to the customer support team at Robinhood, pleading with them to please check his account. There has to have been a mistake. There's no way I would have exposed myself to $700,000 of debt. But again, all he gets is an automated response that says, we're busy and we'll be in touch with you soon. A couple hours later at 3:26 a.m., Alex is still awake, probably pacing around his room, totally panic-stricken. And he looks at his phone and there's another email from Robinhood. And he's thinking, oh my goodness, thank you. Someone's gotten in touch with me to tell me this has been a horrible mistake. And so he opens his email and the header of the email is immediate action required. And what it was a notice for him to make his first payment on this enormous debt. It was going to to be about $170,000 that he had to pay in the next couple of days. And if he didn't make this first payment, they would seek legal action against him. Alex was probably terrified, and also he was ashamed and didn't want to tell his parents. And so all alone in his room, he writes a third email to Robinhood, now straight up begging them, someone please look at my account. This has got to be wrong. But again, he just got the automated message.
I still feel this is scamish. I still feel this is a scam. I'm sorry, I just do. I feel it's a scam.
And so for the rest of the night, Alex probably laid on his bed thinking the world was just crashing in on him. He knew there was no way he could pay this enormous bill. And if he didn't pay it, he would either go to jail or hand it off to his family, which would financially ruin them. And just the idea of doing that to the people he loved made him sick. He just could not face that as one of his options. And so by the time the sun came up the next morning, Alex had come to a conclusion about what he was going to do. He started by pulling out his phone and pulling up the Robinhood app and screenshotting the dashboard that showed his enormous negative balance. And then he went on his laptop and he wrote a long letter to his family and he put it on his desktop so they would understand why he did what he was about to do. And then he left the house, hopped on his bike, and pedaled away. A couple hours later, a police officer arrived at the Kearns' household and he told them that their son, their brother, Alex, was unfortunately deceased. He had thrown himself in front of a train. The family was beyond devastated.
This guy has so much debt that he jumped in front of a train to put his family not involved in it. Wow.
This caught them so completely off guard. It didn't make any sense. Alex was a happy, funny guy with plans for the future. He had shown no indications that he wanted to harm himself. It really just didn't make any sense. And so at some point that day, they went to his laptop, they opened it up, and there was that note he wrote. And in this letter, he explains to his family how he had fallen into this enormous debt on Robinhood. He attaches the screenshot that showed his huge negative balance. And he said it was just crazy that this company would allow a 20-year-old with no income to be exposed to over $700,000 of debt. He thought that was crazy, but he admitted he didn't know that much about options trading and probably shouldn't have been accepted into their program to begin with. And then he tells his family that he did want to live, but unfortunately, this was the only way he could get out of this problem without inflicting enormous financial penalties on his family. And so he believed he was protecting his family when he took his life. 24 hours later, Robinhood sent Alex another email and it said, oh, that $730,000 debt that we said you owed, that was a mistake. You don't owe anybody any money. Alex's family has since filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Robinhood, saying that had they just had a person working their customer service desk, they could have talked to Alex and immediately seen that this was a mistake and it would have saved Alex's life. Their case is still ongoing. So that's going to do.
This is an issue so many places deal with. So many. Why does I hate?
But guys, if you found the secret,
I hate customer service things. Why do customer service apps have to be an AI? Why can't a person do that? Why is it impossible for a person to do that? I don't understand. It's so stupid. This story is heartbreaking. So fucking heartbreaking. However, I can zoom the comments off. Because people are assholes and probably were saying much about this kid and he didn't deserve that. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this reaction video. This is a heartbreaking story. Hope you all enjoyed it though. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, comment down below. The link to the original video will be in the description below. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all for the next one.